So some of you will, the next thing I'm going to say right now will give you it's probably the only thing you need to do the whole year ready to achieve your growth. Just do this one thing. Basically, pretty much everything I say, while will be helpful, some of you will get the biggest bang for your buck from the next statement. You ready?
All right.
I'm not feeling it. You ready?
Ready.
Raise your prices. Kind of what I teach all my inner circle members get taught this, right? So this is what I believe is kind of the secret to business. Okay, first of all, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, is team and culture. We're in a chiropractors are lone wolves. Like, you know, we're good at the doing, and we're lone wolves, you know. But you cannot. Business is a team sport, and this is probably one of the biggest things I got from Robert Kiyosaki. Was business is a team sport. It's like it's all about building a team. You just can't do it without you. I think sometimes someone like Alyssa has a bit of even a better context when I am, as I continue to learn and grow in business, I am more and more aggressive about telling my team how useless I am at stuff. We feel as the leader we have to have it all put together, and it's really the opposite, is that you got to hire for your weaknesses, you know. So it's like, you know, that like there's sometimes that Matt like you're like just walk away, please don't even do it. Yeah. I appreciate that. And you love that. Oh my word, you want to hug her and like, where have you been my whole life? But a lot of the times is I don't feel like we do that enough. And you know when we don't do that enough? We don't do that in interviews enough. Because we sit in the interview and we think we have to make this place to be this perfect place where it's like it's amazing, this business is amazing, it's rainbows and sunshine and it's strawberries and cream and everything's incredible and my business is incredible. Well, the reality of the situation is that you want to air your dirty laundry as quickly as possible in an interview. Like, I'm really bad at this, I'm really bad at this, I'm really bad at this, but I'm telling you what we are great at. And in my business, what I'm great at, if you come spend time around me in my business, you will leave better. You will own a better business. You will, like, I'm very good at helping people become abundant. That's one of my, I managed to get abundant people together and then they learn from each other, etc. I'm very good at that. So if you spend time around me, you will leave more abundant. But don't expect me to do this, this, and this, and this. I'm terrible at that, just so you know, etc. And I think a lot of the times we don't air our dirty laundry quickly enough. But how you do that is through core values, which I'll teach you now. So team culture is the first thing. Business is a team sport. You can't deal without it. Does anyone know there's 4 things and there's actually a 5th, but what else would you put on that? So team culture, what else? What's the lifeblood of every business?
Money.
Yeah, money comes from?
People.
Yeah, so how do you get people in the door?
Marketing.
Yeah, baby. Marketing is I don't care what anyone says, he that has the ability to put people through the front door wins. Josiah and I spoke about this last night. Marketing will cover up almost any mistake short term. So I have relied on marketing to cover up most of my errors in business. However, you know what it's like. You can be very good at generating new patients in the front door, but if you've got a revolving door, and let's say, then there'll come a time you have to address that. But for the most part, it covers up, if you can get people through the front door, it covers up any mistake. Like, you know, we've had challenges, we've lost a lot of our chiropractors at one point, and then we had to hire, and we got new grads. I just doubled down on marketing, and yes, their conversions were one of the things I'll chat to you about. You don't get paid on percentage conversions. You get paid on ROI, which I'll tell you about now. But I just knew because I'm so good at marketing, while other people are battling around me, I can just There's a term, you know, the whole throw stuff against the wall and whatever sticks. From marketing allows you to do that. So it really is the fuel to your fire. Okay, and I hate it when people talk, especially in chiropractic, people talk about, if you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw I put a post on the other day where a lot of people are like, you know, they pride themselves in not having to market their business, and it's like, it's crazy town. It's like, why? Business is a panacea. It's not what we think about it, like what we think as chiropractors is about is irrelevant. So when someone says, oh, I don't need to, like, that's crazy town. Well, then you should be serving more, you've got the ability to serve more people. Or for you, a lot of the times, the person saying it from stage will often be someone who's like been in practice for a long, long period of time, and maybe they may have earned the right to, at that point in their life, not do as much outbound marketing. But if you put me against them, exactly where we are right now, we start from scratch, from zero, I'm going to win. Because I'm going to have 400 people through the front door in the first week. It's going to cost me a lot. It's going to cost me a hell of a lot, but I'll put 400 people through. If I had to, if you said to me as a gun to my wife's head, put 400 people through the door through the first week, I can do that. Okay. I'd need a lot of money though. I'd need a lot of money. I'd have to go, like, I'd probably, that much money, I could probably do that for 10 to 20 grand. I'd probably say I'd put 400 people to the thing for 20 grand. I probably could. And a lot of hard work, you know. And then you go think, so I'm actually thinking about doing a social experience where I start all over again and record the whole thing. And I take a business from 0 to 300 a week in like, you know, 4 to 6 weeks. And we record the whole thing. It'd be a pretty cool experiment, eh? It'll be cool, hey? And then we like record every step of it, you know, and you like watch all my challenges and everything. But I'm prepared to do that because I can do a lot of marketing. And even if I took a business from 0 to 300 a week in 3 months, that'd be pretty good, right? Yeah. Sure. It'd be pretty good. So like those are the type of things we want to do. So marketing, and just write down. So team culture, you guys have got that. Write down. Just write down. Write down COH. Yeah, that's code of honor. When I say code of honor, it's the same as core values. It's the same as core values, so that's core values. From a marketing perspective, if you just write down the word multiple, I've already touched on it, but from a marketing perspective, if you write down the word just multiple, like these are key flags. As long as you have multiple sources of new patients, you're good. Okay? Over here, very underspoken about in chiropractic, we have sales / pricing. So some of you, pricing. So some of you will, the next thing I'm going to say right now will give you it's probably the only thing you need to do the whole year ready to achieve your growth. Just do this one thing, basically pretty much everything I say, while will be helpful, some of you will get the biggest bang for your buck from the next statement. You ready?
All right.
I'm not feeling it. You ready?
Ready.
Raise your prices. Okay, so here's the statistic. Here's the stat. But, so Matt, are you quite analytical? Are you analytical? Do you like to know the statistics and stuff like that?
I find numbers fun.
Oh, cool. So here's the stats. This is what normally, almost every single person that works with my inner circle group, we will, the first thing I'll do with them, because I do, we do an orientation call with you, and I'll look at your stats, and I'll normally look at your numbers, and I'll be like, just raise your prices, okay? And then why do we not, when we raise our prices, inherently, what's the fear? Yeah, so people leave. So here's the statistic. If you raise your prices 10%, you need 20% of the people to leave you, and you'll still break even. When I've worked with so many businesses now, I genuinely have never heard of more than 5. It's like 3 people, not even, of your hundreds a week, and normally you kind of wanted them to leave anyway.
Right.
So that's the statistic, okay? So 10% increase, and this is just purely a peace of mind thing. If 20% of the people are never going to leave, and you still break even. So 10% raise, you need 20% of the business to leave.
Raise 10% and not 1%.
I know, it's always the case. So then, Chuck, the question is, should we have raised it 20?
It was a stretch for me to do 10%.
I know.
It was hard.
You did well. You did really. What did you go from?
We were doing...
So from what charge to what charge?
$55 adjustments to $65 for the regular price, and then for our maintenance adjustments went from like 37 up to 43 or 40.
So there's some big raises there, hey?
That's significant.
Yeah, it's significant. So the adjustments were from 37 to
42, $5 more.
Oh, if I was working, I would have said go to 45.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the other thing. The second number you're thinking of, there's normally two numbers. You're like, I'm going to go to 42 or 45. The same amount of people bitch at 42 as 45. And normally one or two, but the same amount of people bitch at 50 as 30. So whoever's going to bitches, so one of the biggest things.
They'll bitch about it and they'll say, here's my money.
And if you have a strong marketing system, it doesn't really matter.
He has the concept you have to understand. Do you know what happens here? When you have the ability to do this, you have a lot less fear because necessity, writes down, necessity drives away opportunity. Necessity drives away opportunity. So you know when you need something, necessity drives away opportunity. When you need something, it's like you can't get the thing. Like there was all like when you need money, it's like there's no freaking money. You know, when you need new patients, like it's freaking hard to generate new patients. The minute you start like getting abundant, and they're like meh, you know, like we're pretty good. Like new patients just like we were talking about this yesterday. It's just this thing that new patients just come, and you're like, where the freaking hell were the new patients when I needed them? Necessity drives opportunity. And when you sit with something in a sales, we'll talk about sales in a moment, and we're talking about just your closer rate. One of the things about doing this leads to higher closing rates sometimes, because one of the things that happens is potential customers, and I talk of the word customer, can feel it when you need them. It's like a smell you put off, you know. It's just like they can feel it when you're desperate for their custom. So the person that cares the least about the result wins. So you know when you're like, hey, I want to help you. Here's the recommendations. Like, do you want to do it or not? Like, the person that cares the least about the result wins. So that comes from abundance.
And this is why my team member is better actually doing it, the sales part of the conversation, than I am.
Yeah.
Because I care so much about the outcome for the person.
Yes. So when you care, the first time I heard that statement, I hated that statement because the person that said the statement actually phrased it this way. He said, the person that cares the least wins. Okay? So I really struggled with that because my ethos in life is like value. So I was like really battled with that. But when we really spoke more, he was right. The person that cares about the result least wins. So from a sales perspective, and this is not a sales seminar, but it's everything sales. This is what you need. You need high. This is really important for you, Matt. You need to go into every single sales presentation, etc., with high intention, but very low attachment to the results. But inherently we all want to be liked. Inherently we like to be nice people. So we have to have high intention, but zero attachment to result. Like my self-being, my self-concept has zero relevance. Whether you say no to me or not makes no difference in my life. But normally that's very hard to fake. And normally what I'll say is like, as a catch-22, there's a statistic I'll talk about later, and you might as well write it down so you can remind me. It's called your future visit stat. If you measure your future visit stat a lot in your business, you'll often have a bit more confidence in sales environments. So why? Because if I ask you now, Chuck or Matt or Josiah, if I say to you, if I look at your diary ahead, if I look at your diary 2 months from now, if I look at your diary 6 weeks from now, if I look at your diary 4 weeks from now, if I ask you, what does the diary look like 6 weeks from now, what will you say to me? What does it look like?
Empty.
Empty. How does it make you feel?
I'm fine. I've been doing it for a long time. It always fills up.
It always fills up. So now you've got a little bit more confidence in it. But for a lot of docs, they'll look at that and be like, whether you realize it or not, there's a slight element of unknown there. You know what's going to happen. So what happens is I'm very big on the stats, and the reason I'm big on the stats, so someone works with me, I normally say, let's work on your future visit stat, and it's more from a perspective of, fake it till you make it. It's a little bit, it's kind of the closest I've ever seen to faking abundance. But when you look at your diary ahead of time and you see, let's say I've got 200 people in the diary this week, and you look at your diary 6 weeks ahead of time and you got 180, your chest puffs up. You're like, that feels good. Do you know what I mean? You go like I've got a solid business, I know where this business is going. So, go for it, mate.
It leads to that certainty and also shifts from the necessity to the abundance.
Totally. So now you're sitting with someone and you go like, hey, I want to help you, I want to serve you. Do you want it or not? I definitely don't need you. We've got 250 people. We're seeing 250 a week, and we have 200 people booked in the diary 6 to 8 weeks from now, and you're booking out their schedule ahead of time. And I know this is a very old concept in chiropractic, but people don't talk about it from that perspective. And often the guys that are a bit needy in sales presentations, if I ask them about their future visits, they've got zero people booked ahead of time. So more from that perspective. So for you, Chuck, you've been there a while, and some people can hack it. I always say to my associates, some people have the natural gift of the gab, and like one of my docs, my business associate, terrible at future visit stats, but he's got a bit of the gift of the gab. Like, people just going to come see him, just for who he could just walk into a room and you'd want him to be your chiropractor, But I always like to say, I'm going to teach you strategies here, and I want to assume that like for me, I always assume I've got very little skill or talent. I have to overcompensate with good business structure and good business skills. Does that make sense? So that's why I teach the future visit stat is more from a perspective of just knowing where you're going in your business. And now, one of the keys to leadership is this. I hope I can remember them all. There's 5. There is being able to simplify. There's being able to systematize, set structure. So simplify, systemize, set structure. Predict is 4. I forget what the last one is, but the key was the prediction. So can you predict what's going to happen in your business? And now when you're looking at your diary ahead of time, you just feel less anxiety about it. Does it make sense? Awesome. So next is sales and high intention, low attachment. Over here we have business, and something you brought up, Matt, was leadership. Business and leadership, they go hand in hand. So business skills and business knowledge, and there's good news and bad news. The good news is the good news is that a business is a totally learnable skill. Oh my word, totally paint by numbers learnable skill. The bad news is that you got to put in the work. You really have. You got to read the books. And I'm speaking to the converted, by the way. You're all in the room. So you've got to do the time and you've got to do the work. So the business, and it's a lot about just that background knowledge. So business and leadership. Now you've got all of those. At the end of the day, I want to tell you this: that your business in some way, shape, or form will be a resemblance of you. So it's just a mirror. If you're messy in certain areas, like the business is going to be messy in certain areas. So someone once taught me this: there's no such thing as business problems. There's only life problems that show up as business problems. You like that one, Lisa? There's only life problems that show up as business problems. Like for me, one of my biggest weaknesses in business is there's different money personalities. I'm an avoider as a money personality. So I hate looking at accounts. I hate logging. I'm very good at making money, but I don't like to log into my bank account. I'm I'm an avoider. So I need to surround myself with people that are very, very good at doing that for me. So I have to have a financial meeting every single week. Like, pain in the ass. I don't want to do it. It sucks. Boring for me. But success is boring. Success, doing the boring stuff. Like, doing the boring stuff is the thing. So it's really about self-awareness. But your business, in some way, shape, there's no such thing as a business problem. There's only a personal problem that shows up as a business problem. It's just like, if you stray, it's always personal development always precedes business development. So there's two things that are right at the top of this. So we got BD, write down BD, and you got PD. PD. I work a lot on PD with my docs because your business is a resemblance of you. So BD and PD, business development and personal development. And then lastly, you can have all of those things. You can have all those things nicely wrapped up, doing really, really well. But if you don't have this last thing, it is irrelevant. And that is right at the bottom. It's called something called self-concept. Okay, so self-concept is made up of your self-esteem, your self-image, self-esteem and self-image. So when your being is big and everything's going well, there's a guy in Phoenix, his name is, you really want to check him out, his name is Mac Newton. Mac Newton's the only guy in the world who's got the terms you're going to have to help me with. So Dr. Alex has got a ring for what? For the World Series, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mac Newton works with the Oakland A's, and he's got a World Series ring. He's got also what's the American football Super Bowl ring, and so he's got all three. He's like one of the only guys in the world who's got that, and he's a fitness guy. So he was Robert Kiyosaki's trainer. He was Judge Judy's trainer. He's a big guy. And so I spent a week with him, and you go to Phoenix. Amazing guy. He's incredible. You have to read about him. This is true story. His stories are hilarious. At one point he was pronounced dead he was in Vietnam and pronounced dead, and they zipped up his bag, and he was one of those guys sat up in the bag. And I was like, where's this guy come from? He's alive. And then in Phoenix there was a sniper at one point, and he was riding his bike home from training, and the sniper shot him. And the story is he still cycled home. And then lastly, he was a martial arts champion or something, and he snapped his spinal cord, and it said never walk again, and he's walking again today, and he's done training. So he's an amazing guy. So you can actually go train with him. When you walk in, you go to his training. It's a carpet and it's a hot room, so it's warm and no weights. You just go train with him, body weight. But let me tell you, it's the hardest session you've ever done in your entire life. You are very close to getting sick when you leave that room, in a good way. But that's Mac. And Mac said this, first of all, he said two things. He said, never underestimate the power of looking good. Never underestimate the power of looking good. People are like it doesn't really matter. Well, it does kind of sometimes. It does. And then the other thing he says is protect your self-concept with all your might. You need this. And we all have the ability to be self-sabotaging. How many of you know what I'm talking about? We've all got the ability to be self-sabotaging, and he's like, protect this with everything you have.
What's his name again?
His name's Mac Newton.
Mac Newton?
Mac Newton is in Phoenix, and him. Anyway, so Mac. So he's like, and the first time I ever heard someone say protect the self-concept thing, and we've had conversations about this too, Matt. And how we all have these moments, and me so much the fact it's easier to talk about. The personal development world is easier to talk about than actually do. So a lot of speakers on stage leave that out, hey, we haven't got to put it together. We're going through the same shit as you, we're just as fallible as you, and we're going through the same thing, And that's the one thing that often, when it comes to self-sabotaging behavior, that really helps me understand is when I'm I really need this to be a bigger being and to serve better. I've really got to protect that self-concept. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you know exactly when I'm coming on to give you a great tip.